All eyes on China as the president says Beijing is willing to help with Iran. What does that mean? What does it look like? Let's talk about it. Here we go.
Let's go.
The president has said, according to an interview that will air with Sean Hannity, that Xi Jinping has offered to help the U.S. in making a deal with Iran. Now, this is significant for a number of reasons, mainly because Iran needs oil. Iran does not have the oil it needs to power its country. And we, being the U.S., kicking ass, we've got enough oil to go around because we ended the stupid war on energy and the green nonsense and everything like that. We are now not only energy independent, we are energy dominant. Other countries are coming to us for our oil, our natural gas. So China needs to help us because if they can't get oil from the Strait of Hormuz, they got a problem. They got a big, big problem. So here's what the president told Sean Hannity in an interview, which will air later, or depending on when you're listening to the podcast, maybe it's already aired. Who knows? But either way, this is a tease.
She would like to see a deal made. He would like to see a deal made. And he did offer, he said, if I can be of any help at all, I would like to be of help. Because,
he did say that.
Yeah, he did say that. And look, anybody that buys that much oil has obviously got some kind of a relationship with him. But he said, I would love to be of help. If I can be of any help whatsoever, he'd like to see the Hormuz Strait open. He said, if I can be of any help whatsoever, I would like to help.
Okay. Now, the reason for that is, I'm going to put this graphic for you. This is graphic number 6. How the United States became the world's greatest energy exporter. The shale boom and the wars in Ukraine and Iran have transformed the U.S. into a global energy powerhouse. Crude oil, liquefied natural gas, propane, all of it, boom. The shale drilling boom that began 2 decades ago not only flooded the U.S. markets with oil and gas, it transformed the country into the world's largest energy exporter. That's us, the United States of America. All of it, boom. The shale drilling boom that began 2 decades ago, exporter. That's us, the United States of America. From crude oil and liquefied natural gas to other products such as dent in the national trade deficit and help to stabilize overseas markets during wars and other periods of scarcity. Oil and roughly the same portion of liquid natural gas have been cut off by the Strait of Hormuz. See, China from us. And this is the major card the president has to play as he's over in Beijing. Energy industry analysts expect export volumes already at or near records for various products to notch new highs. That's right. How long can the United States maintain this level? A long time. As long as we have the export infrastructure, like the liquid natural gas export facilities and other things like that we need to be able to ship things overseas. But we're working on that. We're making great progress on that. I mean, thank God. Thank God that Biden's not in office anymore. Thank God Kamala Harris didn't win. Thank God the war on energy is over. From the lower 48 states, beginning in 2016, from a Louisiana terminal initially built to receive imported gas. Back then, it was built to receive gas. Now, we're sending out that liquid natural gas, and we're building more and more of these liquid natural gas export facilities, which undermines Putin, undermines these other dictators around the world. So back to China. China needs us, and that's the card we have to play going into all this. But at the same time, we're also making it very clear, we don't need you, China. You need us. And what do we mean by that? Well, Secretary of State Marco Rubio says, we're not asking, all right? We're not asking for your help, China, when it comes to Iran. We got this. Cut 5.
Help me understand, what exactly did President Trump ask President Xi for when it comes to Iran?
He didn't ask him for anything. I mean, we're not asking for China's help. We don't need their help.
But he raises the issue.
We raise the issue to make clear what our position is and to make it clear so they understand, because I mean, it's logical we would talk about it given how dominant that issue is. Our position is very clear. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And that's what they were, they were on the verge of building a conventional capability where they had so many rockets, so many drones, that you couldn't do anything against them. They would hide behind that conventional shield to do whatever they wanted with their nuclear program in the future. That's why the president chose to act. In response to that, Iran has decided that they're going to take an international waterway and turn it into theirs and charge tolls for it. We're not going to allow that to happen, and that's why there's a blockade. It's a direct result of what they've done.
Does China agree with the United States that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon?
Yeah, and what they've said is that Iran is signatory to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and so therefore they should not have a nuclear weapon, and they reiterated that point again today. Maybe not as forcefully as I'm making it, but they've certainly reiterated that in the past. Today it wouldn't the first time.
So the U.S. and China came to common ground with the fact that they both don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I just want to make sure we're clear on this.
Yeah, but let me be clear on this.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a country on the planet. I don't know about North Korea, but I don't know if there's a country on the planet that is in favor of this regime in Iran having nuclear weapons. I don't know of any. I think the difference is we actually are trying to do something about it. Other countries are against it, but they're not willing to do anything about it. So I think the Chinese simply reiterated what has been their position in the past, which is that they don't want to see them have a nuclear weapon. The Russians would say the same thing.
Right.
Certainly all of their Gulf neighbors would say the same thing as well. I think the difference, of course, is we're actually trying to do something about it.
Okay. Now, the other card we have to play here, as my friend Lydia Moynihan from the New York Post put it, is that China wants to end this war because they need our chips.
Yeah, obviously we don't have a lot of substance, if at all, in these conversations. It is just symbolism at this point, but the symbolism would suggest that they are eager to make some kind of deal. And as Jason mentioned, they're not in a great position either. I know they have vastly more oil reserves, but look, their net import of oil is down 20%. This is not an economy that is in a strong position. They've been facing a real estate crisis for 5 years. They need to export all of these goods. Domestically, demand is not what it was. And so as much as we want this war to end, look, 50% of their oil comes from the Middle East. So I think, frankly, in this moment, there might be more to be aligned on. Of course, the tech piece of this is huge. Trump brought a huge coalition of business and tech leaders, and China is desperately trying to get our AI chips. They need that capacity to continue to grow their own economy. We're in an AI race head to head with them, and they recognize they need NVIDIA. They need some of these microprocessors. And hopefully that's a huge point of leverage that Trump stands firm on, because there's been a ton of IP theft. We need to make sure that our companies are protected in that regard.
Okay, so that was smart by the president to bring all these tech leaders there. That was a good move. That was a very, very good move. AI is kind of the thing that we're not talking about, but we're talking about. It's the elephant in the room. It's the whole thing. New York Times had a story about this as well, why AI is the hidden minefield of Trump's China visit. They're going to discuss the risks, but neither is slowing down. You want to know what the real battle is? The real battle is us versus China on artificial intelligence. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, it's like we don't want them to take Taiwan. All right, true. Yeah, but we also don't want them to beat us at AI. We're worried, and we should be worried, because China is never going to slow down. That's why when you hear these idiots out there like Bernie Sanders and AOC and Elizabeth Warren talking about banning data centers and all the panic on data centers that are happening around this country, China is never going to slow down when it comes to advancing AI and building data centers. The good news for us is that China doesn't have the resources yet to be able to build as many data centers as they need, but China also doesn't have the same regulations. I mean, they can throw up a nuclear power plant as quickly as they want. They don't have to worry about going through all the stupid regulations and permitting processes that we have to do in this country. So we got to be mindful of that. But the United States and China, we are locked in a battle over this. And it's interesting when you think about it too. From us, we're worried about, what will AI do this to the job sector? Is AI going to take away people's jobs? Is AI going to be fair? Is it going to be? China doesn't give a damn about any of those things. Doesn't care about its people. It just simply wants to be supreme on artificial intelligence and be supreme on everything else. I mean, that's the reality. That's the bottom line. President Trump kind of acknowledged that when he was saying that you look at the world today, the map of the world, I mean, Putin's not going to be very happy about this, but as far as superpowers go, there's really only two.
What is the ultimate goal of your trip to China?
I think more than anything else, says we have massive relationships with China. We're the two
superpowers. We're the strongest nation on earth in terms of military. China's considered second. Who knows? I mean, who knows? But we are. There's nobody even to come close. And you see that whether it's Venezuela or whether it's Iran. Iran's military is decimated. I have a great relationship with President Xi, and I think it's going to remain that way. We have a lot of things to discuss. I wouldn't say Iran is one of them, to be honest with you, because we have Iran very much under control. We're either going to make a deal or they're going to be decimated. So one way or the other, we win.
What about
One way or another, we win. All right, that's the president's point on this. One way or another, we win. Now, I'll tell you something. I have for years been warning about facial recognition technology, cameras everywhere, the freaking, red light cameras, the speed cameras, everything else is this. And every time I get pushback from people, it's usually either one of two groups. The first group are the public safety people. They're like, cameras, we could use them to go after bad guys. And the second, the pushback I get is from people that want the revenue from the cameras. Like, red light cameras bring in a lot of fazools. I'm just saying. I'm telling you right now, the problem with AI, artificial intelligence, cameras, surveillance everywhere is that is how we will become a totalitarian country. That is how we will wake up one day and realize that it won't happen overnight, but it will happen very quickly. And then we'll just look back and go, there was a time when we were able to be out in public without having the government watching everything that we do. Now, immediately you come back to the whole idea of, but if you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to fear. Yeah, but that's the thing. That can change in a heartbeat. The whole you've done nothing wrong, that can change in 5 minutes. You can suddenly find yourself doing something very wrong. And I don't mean just parking your car illegally. One thing that we've noticed in this trip from China, and Bret Baier noticed this, is that they have cameras everywhere. You're seeing this more and more in major American cities. It's pushed by conservatives who want to see law and order, and it's pushed by lefties who want to be able to tax everybody and get revenue from everything. Either way, we are dangerously going down the road of the CCP. We're going down the road of the Chinese Communist Party by having a massive surveillance state built right before our eyes. We've got to be very careful about this. I can't stress this enough. I know that there's a segment of people that are like, yeah, but we can catch bad guys. Yeah, but what happens when you're the bad guy? What happens if you say the wrong thing in public? And you go, well, we have freedom of speech, but do we? I mean, that can change in a heartbeat too. And what about just the basic fundamental right of not being spied on by your government everywhere you go all the time? Think about how it's becoming increasingly more difficult for you to be off the grid. I mean, completely off the grid. And now we're talking about even more ways to scoop up people's data, American citizens' data, without a warrant without even a warrant. And we're talking about this as we have the debate over the renewal of the FISA Act, Section 702. We're talking about these geo warrants, these fencing warrants that basically scoop up everybody. The Supreme Court's tackling that case now. And everybody's sort of acting like, well, yeah, but, it's inevitable. It's going to happen anyway. Do we want to wake up one day and be like China? Are we already there? Or how close are we? Here's what Bret Baier saw over there.
Big Brother is watching. There are literally cameras everywhere in Beijing. We are outside the Haidian station, and I can count at least 20 on this corner. In fact, in Beijing, they've added 1,500 cameras just this year alone. They see everything. There's nobody jaywalking here because they could get a ticket right away. In fact, our driver parked illegally for 2 minutes, and he got a message on his phone that he got a ticket for about $40 US because they saw it on the camera. Now, there are real questions what the CCP's goal is about citizen tracking and social scoring. They say it's to make everybody feel safe. These cameras are watching every minute. They're everywhere. And while they're watching us here in China, we hope you continue to watch. Special report from Beijing.
Very good plug at the end there, Brett. I give you credit for that. Well done. See that? Very nice. That is a classic move right there of self-promotion. I like it. As one who does shameless self-promotion, I like that, my friend. Well done. I don't want to be like that. I don't want cameras everywhere. I don't want to live like this. And I remember we had the first debate over red light cameras. Now red light cameras are basically everywhere. Speed cameras, construction cameras. It's a thing. And we are getting to a point in our future now where it's just going to become just so the norm, and the government's going to be watching us all the time. And I don't know, maybe you think that's fine. Maybe you think that's perfectly fine. Like what do you have to worry about? I can think of 50 million things to worry about. But I also fundamentally believe that we have a right as Americans to be able to go about our lives without our government knowing what we're doing. Period. Like, I think that is a fundamental American right. You should be able to live your life without your government knowing your whereabouts, what you're doing, and what you're up to. Period. That's it. And, to make the assumption that, well, yeah, but that's only if you're being good. No, because we've got people who are jonesing to put in speech codes. So I'll give you hypothetical examples. I love doing the hypotheticals, right? So now it's 10 years from now. AOC's second term, they passed the most sweeping hate speech disinformation laws in American history. We're hoping it's all overturned by the Supreme Court one day as being unconstitutional. But then again, since they've packed the court, we're not so optimistic about that. And you're in public and you see a man dressed up as a woman, and you refuse to acknowledge that that is a quote unquote woman. And the cameras, which of course are also listening to everything you're saying, now are able to facially scan you and send you a ticket in the mail for a hate speech violation because you misgendered somebody. I mean, I could do this all friggin' day. I could do this all day. Oh, wait, you don't think they're going to try to pack the Supreme Court? You don't think so? Take a listen to this.
Mr. Speaker, the Supreme Court is engaged in an ugly recidivism to deny black political representation in the South. Not since 1877, when Rutherford Hayes ended Reconstruction, have we seen as fast a rollback of political rights for black Americans. The moral light has been extinguished from the Supreme Court. That is why we need term limits for Supreme Court justices. 18 years and you're out. That is why we need to expand the court from 9 justices to 13 justices like we have 13 circuits. The next time the Democrats have power, we need to actually take action, not just appoint commissions. As we approach the 250th year anniversary of our nation, we need a modern Supreme Court to uphold our nation's principles.
You're right. I don't know where I got that from. I guess I'm just making stuff up again. That's the big story of the hour, brought to you by Dr. Mike Veneria, Veneria Dental. Go see him today for your perfect smile. 2 locations to serve you. He's the man. He's going to give you a great smile and make you very, very happy. You'll love the work. You'll love the people. And most importantly, you will love the results because he's all about care and he is about compassion. And that is Dr. Mike Veneria, Veneria Dental. Bret Baier also got a cup of coffee in China. And this is how that went.
In China, trying to get a cup of coffee. Thought we'd try this. Oh, I can pay for it. So you put it in the iPad here, and once you pay for it, and I'm weaseling you out of paying for it.
Sorry, you flagged in that music.
Cold metal morning, I boot up late.
So it's a robot making coffee for Bret Baier. Not a person. All robotic. Jared, you were mentioning you read a story recently about the difference between how China views AI and how the United States views AI when it comes to things like making a cup of coffee, for example, right?
It was a New York Times does a daily podcast, and they had one about future of AI. But the thing that has, from the beginning of AI and robotics, they sort of approach it. America approaches it like, what can we do? What's the craziest thing this tech could be for us? China apparently approaches it much more of like, what is a problem that this can help us solve? One of their problems, I don't know if you remember this, Rich, for a long time, there weren't a lot of Chinese babies. And they have a lot of people and not a lot more coming. So workers and some of that kind of stuff, they really used robotics. They used AI originally. Like, they've been working on AI for a long time, but it's not this generative AI. It's this kind of AI. That the machines are smart enough to know and to move, and to, but they love their robots over there. Delivery robots, all these things. It's not here. Like here, remember that robot went on like a cross-country trip and Philly beat the crap out of it?
Yeah.
And it couldn't get, like, that's how we view robots. But it's also like even in how they talk about robots. Like, they talk about how the what can it fix? Whereas America's like, you know, what can we ruin? What customer service experience can I make worse by putting a robot into this conversation? That's how we do it. But they definitely have a very like positive vibe, apparently, on robotics.
All right, now this question is going to sound like I'm just trying to be for shock value, but I'm really not. What about sex robots?
I think that's a big taboo in those cultures, so I don't know. I wonder if they talk about it or not. Wait, what? Rich, you assume someone would want to have sex with a robot? I don't know where you'd get that idea.
Right? Crazy. Because if they have a population problem, they probably would outlaw sex robots. But here in America, we've got a problem with young men who apparently don't want to have sex anymore, or at least don't want to have a woman. This is like this issue I keep reading about, the groypers, the incels, all these other bad. And I don't know how much of that is true. I don't know. But even let's assume like there's a certain element of men out there, a certain element of young men that don't want to have a romantic relationship with a woman. They don't want to deal with it. And I could see that industry booming very quickly. The sex robot industry booming for those dudes. Like, I could see Nick Fuentes hanging out with a sex robot.
So there is a theory around this, around the groypers or whatever, that some of the problem is that tech has taken away three-dimensionality. Like, you met your wife on eHarmony, right?
I did. Yep.
So eHarmony is like 21-point profile. Like, oh, I like this. I don't like this. I'm not really. And that's a compatibility thing. This next generation, it's a binary. Swipe left, swipe right. Do I like them? Do I not like them? Based on mostly just what they look like, but just swipe. It's very binary. And one of the theories is it's very hard for kids to view people as three-dimensional people with quirks and, you know, like things they like and things they don't like. And that's why there's part of that groyper thing is that they've not grown up looking at women as three-dimensional people with their own feelings and their own experiences and things like that.
Fascinating. Sex robots are definitely here to stay. I'm going to invest in one. I think so.
You really think someone would have sex with a robot, Rich? I'm going to have to Google this. I don't know. It seems so weird.
Okay. I mean, who would want to have sex with a beautiful human-like robot who looks like Scarlett Johansson in a? I mean, what? I'm sorry.
I saw that Alicia Vikander. What was that? The AI one where she was a ex machina.
Oh,
I get that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there.
If they look like Alicia Vikander, maybe I'll reconsider.
I'm not, and I'm not saying that because I'm drinking. I haven't started yet. It's middle of the afternoon here, but my time. We have to get into the alcohol use self-reporting test challenge, and we will do that. But one of the things that I do think is very interesting about the whole Iran situation and China and how it plays into this is what the end game is, because I do think there are very different objectives here when you involve Israel. And that's obvious to me from an interview that Benjamin Netanyahu gave, which is airing on 60 Minutes. So we'll get flagged again by Paramount Global, and we'll have to explain to them how we're airing this in the interest of public debate, so that we can discuss whether or not his interests, Israel's interests, are aligned with the United States' interests and China's interests in seeing this war end. Because my interest is I want this friggin' war to end. I want this to end, and I want gas prices to come down, and I want to move forward. And I have said this, and you may disagree with this. You may disagree with this because you are a very intelligent and very well-read or well-listened, informed person. So you get it. So you hear the president's arguments on this. You hear the reasons why Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, and you're engaged. I'm just not so sure the rest of the public is where you are. And I think for a lot of them, they don't know why we're there, and they're not getting it. The buy-in is not there. They're just seeing gas prices, and they're just saying, what the hell's going on here? And you might say, no, they've laid out their case beautifully about this. But I would disagree. I don't think they have laid out their case beautifully. I actually don't. I think it's been a communications failure. And I'm saying that as somebody who wants to help here. I just don't think I don't think the buy-in of the American people is there. Now, if you disagree, it's because you are very informed. You pay attention to things. And then you may passionately disagree with this war because you pay attention to things. You're very engaged. There's a whole segment out there that's not. And they may not have an opinion one way or another on this. All they know is everything is suddenly more expensive again, and this is not good. And I don't know why, and I don't know what the end game is, and I don't know how this ends. And I keep hearing how it's going to end, and I keep hearing how Iran's decimated, but it doesn't seem like they are. And I heard that Iran didn't have nuclear weapons. Now I hear that they might be able to make them again, and I'm confused. And then you hear what Israel's perspective is on this, and then that could get even more confusing. And this is what Netanyahu said.
Is the war with Iran over? And if it isn't, who will decide when it is?
I think it accomplished a great deal, but it's not over because there's still nuclear material, enriched uranium that has to be taken out of Iran. There's still enrichment sites that have to be dismantled. There's still proxies that Iran supports. There are ballistic missiles that they still want to produce. Now, we've degraded a lot of it, but all of that is still there, and there's work to be done.
How do you envision the highly enriched uranium will be removed from Iran?
You go in and you take it out.
With what? Special forces from Israel? Special forces from the United States?
Well, I'm not going to talk about military means, but what President Trump has said to me, I want to go in there. And I think it can be done physically. That's not the problem. If you have an agreement and you go in and you take it out, why not? That's the best way.
What if there isn't an agreement? Can it be taken out by force?
Well, you're going to ask me these questions. I'm going to dodge them because I'm not going to talk about our military possibilities, plans, or anything of the kind.
And I'm just trying to get at how long is it going to take to achieve that?
Okay, stop it right there. Okay, stop it right. Thank you. That's the question. How long is this going to take? That's the question. How long is that going to take? All right. And that's what we're all wondering here. Because, you've heard different things. You've heard Lindsey Graham say, well, just go in and have regime change, or just give the people guns. Just let them overthrow their government. Just give them guns. Like, it's just, I have no idea how you do that. And the question on everybody's mind right now is, how long does that process take? And even if if President Trump said tomorrow, this is over, does that mean that Netanyahu says it's over? And then if Netanyahu says it's not over, do we do anything about that? And if we don't do anything about that, does that mean that the war continues? Is the Strait still violent? Is it volatile? The conversation of the internet cables that run underneath the Strait of Hormuz, something that is now becoming a story that people are talking more and more about. So how long does this last?
I'm not going to give a timetable to it, but I'm going to say that's a terrifically important mission.
Hours before we sat down with the Prime Minister, Israel targeted Iranian-backed Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon. This is the second front in the war with Iran, much more Israel's than America's. Is it possible, Mr. Prime Minister, that the war with Iran could end, but the war with Hezbollah could continue? That these would be separate and divergent battlefields?
They should be. What Iran would like to do is to say, no, if we achieve a ceasefire here, we want a ceasefire
They
there.
do, clearly.
You know why? because they want Hezbollah to stay there and continue to torture Lebanon, continue to hold its people hostage, and continue
Will
to...
you accept that?
No. No, we've said...
Even if President Trump asks you to?
Well, look, he understands what I'm saying. I mean, we want to get rid of that danger to our communities, to our cities. They rocket our cities all the time. They rocket our communities. And of course, would you want to live like that?
So this could go on?
Yeah, but
even if Iran is solved?
I hope, no, if this regime is indeed weakened or possibly toppled, I think it's the end of Hezbollah, it's the end of Hamas, it's probably the end of the Houthis, because the whole scaffolding of the terrorist proxy network that Iran built collapses if the regime in Iran collapses.
Do you believe it is possible to topple the Iranian regime?
I think that you can't predict when that happens. Is it possible? Yes. Is it guaranteed? No.
Okay. That's the problem. Is it possible? Yes, but how? How? And that's the question that none of us have an answer to. That's the question. If in the end here, the goal is regime change, the regime is toppled, to put in a regime that will not enrich uranium, to create a nuclear weapon, to create a nuclear missile, to create something that could destroy these other countries, how is that goal achieved? I bring this up because as President Trump is over in China right now and talking about this, we could get the Strait open. We could have the Strait be free passage because it's obviously in China's best interest to have that happen. But if we get all the enriched uranium, the nuclear dust, and everything else we keep hearing about, is that going to be enough? Or does it have to be regime change? And if it is going to be regime change, how does that occur? These are the questions that most people in their minds are thinking about right now. They're also thinking about how expensive is my summer vacation going to be. So I got great news for you. I'm going to help you with that. Stay local. That's right. Go to the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. Forget flying. Forget a cross-country trip. Screw that. Not right now, anyway. Once this war is over and gas prices come down, yeah, then do all that. But in the meantime, go to Cape May. Stay at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey, because they have an incredible June midweek special available for you, where the longer you stay, the more you save in resort credit. You get resort credits back to you. They give them back for you to use on property, right on site. So let's say you're hanging out at their beautiful, gigantic, Olympic-sized heated outdoor pool with the pool bar right there. Yep, you can use your resort credits right there. Let's say you're going to Hemingway's restaurant where they have fresh steak and seafood delivered daily, the freshest seafood anywhere on the Jersey Shore. You can use your resort credits there. Want to take the family on a whale watching boat cruise? Go to the gift shop, use your resort credits, take the family on a boat watching cruise. Beach cabana stand, get food delivered right to your beach cabana, whatever you want to do. That's the beauty of the Grand Hotel. Indoor heated pool, outdoor heated pool, great people, great staff, suites. Many of the rooms have kitchenettes, full-size refrigerators, and more. So you can even bring in your own food and drinks and save even more money that way. This is your summer of savings at my happy place, the Grand Hotel of Cape May. And I tell you, even though it's a drive away, it feels like you've gone hours. It's got such a New England vibe to it. You know, it's an old Victorian whaling village, ton of World War II history. There's no boardwalk, but if the kids are jonesing for the rides, it's only a few miles up the road. So you got everything you need. And there's mini golf there. There's ice cream there. There's everything there. That's what you want to do, is go to the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. grandhotel.com. Do it today. You got to book direct with them to get those resort credits. So don't use a third-party site. grandhotelcapemay.com.
Rich, I got to tell you that Bret Baier would have not enjoyed your transition there. That was not a Bret Baier Fox News. I think you did your best. I'm just letting you know. If you think Bret Baier's so many cameras everywhere, and you know who else is on camera? We are tonight, live from Beijing. I'm just letting you know. Like we gotta workshop it more. That's all. I know you're doing your best. You're doing it on the fly. He's got writers and producers, and they're working on scripts, and I get it. I'm just saying. We got a ways.
Well, you know, if I was appearing at the Grand Hotel, instead of having heart surgery next week. I would have done it like that. We were supposed to originally be there tomorrow. So I would have done it like that. It would have been like, and forget driving, especially when you can drive to see me at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. Forget getting on an airplane when it's a short drive to see me perform in front of you at the Grand Hotel. But, we're not doing that tomorrow. So that was supposed to be our day, May 15th. But, now we got to wait.
Are you going to make it on Monday? I forgot to even ask. Did you get to 2,000?
We are not to 2,000 subscribers.
Oh, no.
I think this is probably going to be the end of us.
Okay. Wait.
YouTube.com at Rich Zeoli Show.
The end of us?
Yeah. The end of us, the two of us. Because if I'm dead, you're. You
don't think I can just take the reins? Yeah, dude. By the way,
we need like 80 more subscribers, but
no. Here's the thing: I would have such a great sympathy run. I could do 2-3 weeks on this show with just people that feel terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Now maybe people will go to youtube.com/@RichZeoliShow and subscribe before Monday morning, knowing that psychologically it's the only way I can pull through.
What time?
Maybe. What?
What time are you going under the knife? What's the actual? What's their?
I mean, it's early. The surgery's at 7 a.m.
Oh God.
So the clock is ticking here. You know what I mean? And maybe they'll reach out to their friends and say, we got to hit 2K. You hit 2K, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. 80 people?
Life or death.
I mean, we can't do that. So even if you're listening right now, either on Apple or Spotify, or you're listening on PHT, whatever it is, just go to YouTube, put in my name, Zeoli, Zeoli. You'll see our page and hit subscribe. It's simple. Even if you don't come back and watch, that's all right. Just hit subscribe. I want to have a goal before I die. If I die, it's on you. No pressure. But how mad Carrie gets when I say this. I see her, she gets so angry in the YouTube chat. And Sue's kind of over it, but it's all right. It's fun. It's kind of the Italian jinx. If you make jokes about it, it can't come true. So yeah. But I may say to my surgeon, he's Japanese. I may say to him on the operating table, I may say, I did not make my 2,000. So I should go samurai style. You know how they used to do the honor? Like,
yeah. Seppuku? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I may ask that. I may say that.
I'm so sorry. This is your journey. I wish you well. I'm not going to be all the warriors that commit suicide after the Shogun goes down. And
then you have to take your own life as well in solidarity with that.
I'm supposed to. Yeah. I don't.
It's a team effort.
How about this?
I mean, everybody in the YouTube chat as well. We all got to go out kamikaze style.
I just want you to know we are all definitely doing that. So when you do it, just know that we are right behind you, that we got this.
We all got this.
We're with you.
All right, fine. What if we just have a drink instead? What do you think? Is that better?
Hey.
Like if I was here's a good transition. If I was a drunk like Chris Van Hollen or Kash Patel, I would go to the outdoor pool bar at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. Well, they're going back and forth, accusing each other of being alcoholics, I guess. I don't know. We have this little chart here. What is there? There's audio and a graphic of this. Is that right?
Yeah, there's the audio of their fight.
All right. So Van Hollen's a slime ball. Isn't he the one that had the margarita with the guy who got deported?
So that's what Cash is going to bring up. I'm not an alcoholic. You're partying with terrorists, I think is how he put it.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Good. This is the kind of decorum we need in America's 250th year. We know that we've matured as a country. We've got this going on.
I really don't care about your personal life so long as you are able to perform your public and official responsibilities, which are awesome responsibilities. Multiple reports, including reporting by The Atlantic, have alleged episodes of excessive drinking, unexplained absences, and behavior that concern current and former FBI and DOJ officials. You have publicly denied those allegations and filed a defamation lawsuit. So today, as you testify before Congress, is it your testimony that those allegations are categorically false?
Unequivocally, categorically false.
So there have been no occasions during your tenure when FBI personnel were unable to promptly reach you?
Absolutely not. You can ask my entire workforce. They hear from me at every single hour of the day, as do these great gentlemen here, as do the men and women of the interagency and state and local law enforcement and the White House.
And so there have been no occasions when your security detail had difficulty waking or locating you. Is that right?
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
and
unlike your baseless reports, the only person that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know,
the only person that ran up a $7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby bar was you. So the only individual in this room that has been drinking on taxpayer dime during the day is you.
Director Patel, come on. These are serious allegations that were made against you. They're in a lawsuit that you filed.
You drinking margaritas with a gangbanger is true and on video.
It just goes to show you
running a $7,000 bar tab at the lobby bar has been filed by your own office.
This goes to show
drink during the day. That's you. This is the ultimate example of hypocrisy.
Mr. Chairman,
I will not be tarnished by
this
baseless
makes me proud to be an American.
fraudulent statements from the
right
media.
Here.
The fact that you mentioned that indicates you don't know what you are talking about. Now, here, Director
The only thing I know is you're the one drinking margaritas with felons.
Actually, that's a false statement, and I'm asking you about
It was a skinny margarita.
Statements.
It was a Paloma.
I'm asking you about a particular report. And
all right, thank you, Jared, for that. It was a Paloma. All right, not a margarita. And it was a Clamato. Had mezcal in it. It's delicious. So then they put up the alcohol use disorders identification test self-report version. Chris Van Hollen actually tweeted that out, and he took his own test and came back with a 3, but I don't see a question on there about slinging back margaritas with convicted rapists, gangbangers. I don't see. I think that's question number 11, and it was cut off at the very bottom. Yeah.
He didn't know he had to turn it over.
Yeah, it should say, and now flip
Other
to
side.
page 2.
Right.
Have you ever slung back margaritas with a convicted rapist, gangbanger, like that? So
in the hearing, he said, have you ever taken an alcohol disorder use test? And he said, I'll take one if you take one. So now Van Hollen is like, here's mine, Kash Patel. Let's see yours.
I think this test is stupid. I mean, 2 to 3 times a week is the first question. 2 to 3 times a week of a glass of wine, 2 to 3 times a week. I mean, you have 2 glasses of wine on Sunday with Sunday dinner, homemade wine. You're checking 3. You're already starting at 3. You haven't even gotten to question 2 yet. You know what I mean?
If I could say that the problem with tests like this is they're designed by either recovering alcoholics or very religious people. And I just disagree with their baseline. Their baseline is those people, they think of alcohol like heroin. And it's, like, hang on. Okay. Baseline, I think, 2 drinks per sitting. How many sittings? Like, the people, they're like, oh, I had 1 glass of wine. I opened a bottle of wine. Right here. I had 1 glass and I set the rest down. Like, what? No, you didn't. I don't believe you.
No, you didn't. You didn't do that.
No.
And how big is that pour? How big, you know what I'm saying? How big is that pour of wine? I only had 1 glass of wine. I just filled it up with this.
Yeah.
This
100%.
This is my glass of wine here.
That fits a whole bottle, Rich. You should know that.
That would definitely, well, I do know that because that's what's in it right now. You know what I mean? So I also think Billy Bob Thornton's character in Landman kind of says it too. And he's a recovering alcoholic who only drinks, I think it's Michelob Ultra. And the bartender said, you shouldn't be drinking anything. And he goes, I'll tell you what, I'll drink 4 of these and you give me 4 bourbons or whatever, 4 whiskeys, and we'll see if there's a difference in how I feel. I kind of think that that's true too. I mean, if you drink 4 light beers versus 4 bourbons or like whiskey or something, because of the alcohol concentration and how your body deals. I know they say it's all the same. I've never believed that whole argument that like a shot is the same as 1 12-ounce beer is the same as 1 4-ounce glass of wine or a 6-ounce glass of wine, whatever it is. I don't believe that for a second.
Do you remember when you were in like school and they were teaching you that? I don't know where you were developmentally, but I had never been close to alcohol. And there was like a quiz, like how much alcohol do all these things have? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm 12. Like you think I'm slipping in the medicine cabinet and taking a pull?
The other problem is if you go out to a restaurant and you order a cocktail before dinner, that cocktail probably has 4 to 6 ounces of just pure hard liquor in it.
2 to 3 is pretty standard.
Think 2 to 3?
Yeah.
All right, so that's 2 to 3 drinks right there before you've even had before you've even got the bottle of wine to the table.
Yeah, and I think 2 ounce. Well, again, I have no idea, but I thought 2 ounces was a drink. So if you got a 2 and then a double is 3 ounces, but like an old fashioned is usually 3 ounces, or Manhattan's always 3. Yeah, I don't know, man. Sorry. I don't know. Whoever makes these charts, I don't understand what their frame of reference
I think most of these charts are designed to get you into a 28-day rehab program. It's going to cost $52,000. Honestly, I really do. I mean, I think there's a whole industry behind that of getting people to believe that they have an alcohol problem. And I love how it's called alcohol use disorder. We used to call it drunkism. We used to say you're a drunkard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's alcohol use disorder. So
the back half of that test is more what you're talking about. It's, have you or someone ever been injured because of your drinking? Do you ever experience feelings of guilt after drinking? Those
are more consequential questions to me than how many days a week do you drink?
Can I ask you this one, Rich? Have you ever tried to get anybody into rehab? Family member, anything like that?
No, never had to do that.
I promise you, if I had them fill this out, it'd come back with all zeros. Like they're not admitting it. That's the whole thing. You got to convince them that they're like, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm fine, bro. You got fired from your last 3 jobs and you have 5 DUIs. You're not fine. They're like, nah, this is good. This is just normal.
Yeah, you're fine, bro. What do you got nothing to worry about? Come on, you're good. Oof. Oh man. I saw the president have a sip of white wine. He doesn't drink, but he did take a sip of white wine when they were doing the toast in China. So I guess now technically he's got to check the list.
Not a teetotaler.
So
I will say,
not a teetotaler anymore.
I would like to take exception with FBI Director Patel in that testimony. He was like, you drink on the job. And I was like, hold on. There was a period of time where the entire Senate was just drunk. And I think that the U.S. operated pretty well for those 150 years. I would like to normalize drinks at lunch again. And I don't appreciate the stigma.
We've always been like that as a country. I mean, you go to Europe, they're drinking all day long over there. Because they haven't been a superpower in a couple hundred years, but there's that.
Normalize day beers.
Back to day drinking it is. Well, as we're thinking about this, it's important to note the president being in China. We are still dealing with Chinese spying even right here in America. A man was just formally prosecuted, a U.S. citizen, convicted of running a secret Chinese police station in New York City. So when I tell you that the government is always watching you, and while these two are fighting about, who's drinking more on the job or who's drinking less on the job, we got this guy, according to the BBC. Obstruction of justice for destroying evidence. A California mayor resigned last week after spying for the CCP and pushing out propaganda. This guy running a secret Chinese police station in New York City. We have been hearing more and more about these secret Chinese police stations that are popping up across the country. That's a very real thing. And I got to wonder, I still have to wonder, as the president's over there in China right now, how much of the spying that's occurring on products that are in your home right now. I mean, we're doing this over a Comcast modem router that was built in China, where you're probably watching this on a computer that was made in China. Maybe you're listening to this on an iPhone that was made in China. I do have to wonder how much of the spying that's going on in the products and the devices that are built over there. I have to wonder about that. And I have to wonder, as AI takes more of a foothold in things, how much more that's going to be an issue as this goes on. And I don't know. I think about it. I worry about it, and I worry that we're not going to address those issues because we have kind of come to a place in our politics right now where, well, both parties seem to be oblivious to the problems of Big Brother and spying. I mean, it just seems to be kind of a thing. Well, there was a bright spot this week when a Pennsylvania judge, who was a Democrat, left the Democrat Party. And that happened earlier in the week. And I meant to get to it, but this is a good spot. This is a bright spot of the week. Take a listen.
Back, Matt DeLucia here in the Live Center. We just learned this afternoon that Pennsylvania Supreme Court Justice David Wecht, who was just retained by voters to another 10-year term on the bench, he says that he is leaving the Democratic Party. Now, he's not joining the Republican Party. Instead, he says he won't be affiliated with either party. Why? He said in a statement today that he's grown frustrated with hatred, especially against Jewish people, that's coming from both parties. Now, here is part of his statement. It says, "My jurisprudence and adjudication have always been independent, and they always will be. Now my voting registration reflects that independence as well." Now, Democrats still hold a 4-2 majority on the court, with Wecht being unaffiliated, ladies.
Okay. That hatred of Jewish people, which I think is something he's talking about on both sides, I want you to know about an article that came out earlier this week about the Southern Poverty Law Center. Their far left anti-racism curriculum has been found in classrooms as early as kindergarten, according to a watchdog group. The group currently faces federal fraud charges over an alleged covert paid informant program worth $3 million. Liberal organization, Southern Poverty Law Center, facing federal fraud charges, and the group has put in its far left content and materials into classrooms as early as kindergarten in more than 40 states across the United States. Now, let's remember something. A lot of these hate groups, none of them are going to be pro-Hamas or pro-Palestine or anything. You won't see any of that in there. All right. So that will not be a group that the Southern Poverty Law Center identifies. Moms for Liberty? Yeah, no, they'll be in there. That's for sure. Gays against groomers? They'll be in there. Like the Faith and Freedom, but a group that is a pro-Hamas group, they will not be in there. So groups that are spouting off Israeli hatred or anti-Jewish hatred or anything like that, those groups will not make it into this. Nicole Neely, president of Defending Education, which was once labeled an extremist group by the Southern Poverty Law Center, told Fox News Digital that unbeknownst to parents, the Southern Poverty Law Center has been poisoning people's minds around the country for years with its toxic curriculum. Defending Education published a new expose detailing how a Southern Poverty Law Center education program called Learning for Justice, formerly Teaching Tolerance, has been integrated into K-12 lesson plans and materials in 169 school districts in 42 states, plus Washington, D.C. According to the watchdog, the program reinforces far-left cultural and political ideologies, including anti-racism, Black Lives Matter, gender ideology, and queer theory, white privilege, white supremacy, whiteness, and transgenderism. The integration in schools, issues such as queer theory, white privilege, and others, they put them in history, social studies, and other core classes. And the whole idea is to teach children to view themselves and others through the lens of identity politics, and that America is forever stained by its original sin. That is the goal of the Southern Poverty Law Center as it continues to infiltrate the classroom like that. That's what they're trying to do. So, what I would say to you is that it's a real problem that this organization has managed to infiltrate the public school curriculum, but it's not surprising to me, especially as more and more young people are turning towards communist ideology. And don't forget something, a lot of young people this week are going to hear about how great China is. I mean, as the president's over there, a lot of school districts are going to take this opportunity to tell their students how wonderful Mao was and communism and how great China is and how it's the People's Republic, and they're going to hear all these rah-rah things. Mark my words. I guarantee it. I mean, if I was here next week, and I'm not going to be, I'll be off, obviously, on medical leave, but if I was going to be here next week, that's what I would probably be focusing on, was how much classrooms and teachers, because it takes a day or two for this stuff to catch up. But I bet you like Corey DeAngelis will be all over this, for example. We'll be using this as an opportunity to teach kids about how great China is. and the ideology of the Chinese Communist Party. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems to me like that's what they kind of do with these things. The Southern Poverty Law Center, they use, for example, the Smithsonian Museum for their propaganda as well. They used the New York State Department of Education. They used various museums. They used in a lot of different states as well, too. And of course, they paid informants like, people like, Klan members and neo-Nazis. I mean, a little side hustle. I mean, why drive for Uber Eats when you can work for the Southern Poverty Law Center? It's beneath a Klansman to deliver pizza, but to work for the Southern Poverty Law Center, that is totally above board, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something you could brag about to your friends. So the Southern Poverty Law Center has completely infiltrated the California Department of Schools, the Illinois State Board of Education, Chicago Public Schools, Cambridge Public Schools, Yonkers Public Schools, Princeton Public Schools, and a bunch of other schools as well. None of those organizations responded to Fox News Digital's request for comment. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? I'll tell you what. Well, here's what I know. I know that if we're ever invaded by the commies, I'm going to be ready. Thanks to Bob's Little Sports Shop. That's right. The original Red Dawn, it was the Russians. I think in Red Dawn, the remake, which was terrible, I think it might have been the Chinese or it might have been the North Koreans or North Koreans, was it? Yeah. That's a movie you don't remake. There's no reason to remake Red Dawn. I'm just saying. I think there should be a law against remaking certain. I'm not big on laws, but I think certain movies you should pass a law,
Like what is it? The Criterion Collection? Like once it's in the Criterion Collection, no more remakes?
Yeah, no more remakes.
Like no more.
Not that the original Red Dawn would have made that list, but you
could have a fan.
Like they remade Roadhouse with. Was there a reason to remake Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal?
It's pretty good. You should watch it.
I've refused.
Not like the original.
I'm on Team Swayze. I'm on Team Patrick Swayze. I'm not watching it.
Nobody asked you to pick. You can love both things, Rich. You got more room in your heart. It's like after you had 2 kids. Do you think you were going to love the third? Of course. There's always more room in your heart for more Roadhouse.
You're telling me the Roadhouse remake is good?
It's good. It's good. It's good.
All right, well, I have a lot of time on my hands next week. Maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. I mean, I could read a book. Nah, I'll probably just watch a bunch of movies and TV shows. So if you have a list, send them my way. Actually, if you would do that, that'd be helpful. I'd appreciate that. That would be actually really helpful. So give me a list. I don't know if I want Jared's recommendation since he told me to watch that stupid Ben Affleck movie. I'm still angry at you over that.
It was good too. The Rip. I enjoyed it.
I lost your audio. You went out.
Oh, no. It's on Netflix. Oh, no.
No, I know, but I don't hear you now. You disappeared. All right, maybe you're being silenced by the censors. Bob's Little Sports Shop, though, is going to help you in every way protect yourself and your family. They're great people over at Bob's. I think the world of them, and I definitely want you to reach out to them today. Ladies, listen, this weekend, Sunday, their women's only shoot. It's at 2 p.m. You got to sign up. If you don't sign up, you're going to miss out. They have another one coming up June 7th as well. Just sign up, bobslittle-sportshop.com. Learn how to protect yourself and your family from the commies, from the zombies, whoever. It's very important to do. It's very American to protect yourself and your family. And Bob's is the best selection of firearms anywhere. And Bob's Little Sports Shop also has, without question, it has the best instructors anywhere. NRA range safety certified officers who are going to help you learn to fire a gun properly and defend your family. That's what they're all about at Bob's Little Sports Shop. Great people over there. The best. And they also have coffee and shirts and hats, and they got gear and ammo, and they got hunting gear, and they'll help you every step of the way from the permit to getting your concealed carry license. And if you've never fired a gun before, ladies, that's okay, because the women's only shoot, no experience is required. So just go to bobslittle-sportshop.com, bobslittle-sportshop.com. All right, before I get out of here, I'm hoping that somebody gets me, well, we need to get to 2,000 subscribers so I don't die. I also would like tickets to go to the cage match at the White House for the UFC fight. I actually have no interest in going to this whatsoever. I'm just kidding. I don't want to be anywhere near Washington at all for this. There's like 3 things I don't want to do: World Cup, Washington, DC for the 250th or Philly for the 250th. I don't do any of those things. But UFC fight tickets is the hottest ticket to get. And the biggest status symbol that you can have is that you got tickets for the UFC fight on the White House lawn for America's 250th. Jared, you know anyone who's going? 4,000 people.
No, and I know some people with UFC ties to get tickets, and they said no. Like, sorry, guys. I mean, the tickets are going for, I think that article said $1 million each. Yeah. That's crazy.
$1 million or 1.5 million. Well, I know that you help some other podcast guys and some people with Washington connections. They're not going?
Oh, I haven't asked those guys. But I don't know. I don't think this seems like this is up their alley. Seems like it's going to be a lot of
Dana White said he only took a few tickets and he doesn't have any because people keep asking him, and he's like, I got nothing to give. I get calls, emails, texts every day, said Stephen Chung, one of the White House press guys, spokespeople. And that is the single hottest ticket. If you can get a ticket, it's literally the golden ticket to the UFC fight. You could be like the grandpa and Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. You know, you get out of bed and you start dancing. I got a golden ticket. This is 4,000 people on the White House lawn for this. Another, what do they say? 175,000 people on the ellipse watching it on TV. Or is it even more than that? It might be even more than that. Watching it across the street. I don't know. But if you have two and you want to give me one, let me know. All right. I mean, it's always the kind of situation where I'd always say like, I don't want to go. But then if somebody offered me a ticket, I'd be like, all right, I'll go. You know what I mean?
I'm the same way, like to the Olympics in LA. Like, no. If somebody's like, hey, we're going to LA for the Olympics. I'm like, oh, let's go. Yeah. Road trip. You know, but I'm not gonna do that on my own. Right.
I think psychologically what it is what you do is you say, I have no interest in going because you know you're not going to go. And then if you somehow get a ticket, then you're like, all right, I'll go, like, fine, you know?
Well, I know two people that know Dana White pretty well, and they similarly were like, oh, let's see if we get tickets. And the answer was also no.
No. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, good luck.
Also,
you'll be watching that at a bar.
But on that point, like, they're not selling the Vegas tickets for $1.5 million each. Like, let the guys make money. Whoever's got the money, let them make the money.
I couldn't agree with you more. Or whoever's got the deep state connections, let them make the money. Because you know that's how that works. That swamp ain't draining itself anytime soon. All right, have a great rest of your day. Back tomorrow with an audio-only podcast extravaganza for you, featuring some really special guests. Have a great rest of your day. Please hit the subscribe button and tell your friends, tell your enemies, save my life by subscribing to the Rich Zeoli podcast, especially on our YouTube channel. Please do it today, and thank you for listening.
Let's go.